make this into hyperbole, but there have been at least 4 Indian athletes, and curiously, Ashok Sajjanhar, none of the other athletes from other countries are complaining about this. It seems like Indian athletes are badly being officiated, refereeing is being badly done when it comes to their events. In javelin, both the players complained. Jyoti Yaraji's case, she complained. The fencing star also complained. Even the women's javelin thrower, Anurani, she also complained. So clearly something is amiss, whereby Chinese officials either are badly trained, don't know how to do their job, or they are clearly targeting India and Indian athletes for non-sporting reasons.
No, absolutely, you're right, Zaka, because that's what it appears, that it doesn't all appear to be, very much in the clear. Because as you said very clearly, that it is only the Indian athletes who are facing this sort of a problem. It is not the athletes of any other country. So, if it was poor training, I would have given it, okay, fine, they are poorly trained, but then why should it all only happen as far as the Indian athletes are concerned? So, it brings me to question whether it is some sort of a mindset that, they don't want to see Indian athletes who are doing well. They don't want to see them, although they should realize that, number one, in sports, there has to be the sportsman spirit that should prevail. Secondly, I think it's not as if India is on the top of the table. India is not at the top of the table, and India is doing much better than what it has done earlier. But, as far as our gold medalists are concerned, trying to stop them, and you can see the sort of a body language also that is being shown on your screen. Obviously, our athletes are very upset about this. They are very angry at this. And there, seems to be something more than what really meets the eye, that it is poor training or it is. I think it's the sort of a mindset that, appears to give rise to this.
Andrew Liang, like I said, I don't want to jump into conspiracy theories. I'm not someone who believes too much in conspiracy theories. But look at the background to this entire tournament. We had that entire controversy in the lead up to it about staple visas. The sports minister of India, who's supposed to go for the opening ceremony, cancelled that at the last minute as a fallout of China's decision to not give proper stamped visas to some of our wushu players. They were not able to go. Then at least 4 Indian athletes have complained through the course of their disciplines that they were at the receiving end of bad refereeing. Why should India look at this and say, what's going on here? Is something amiss here? Is something fishy here? Because, like I said in my question to Mr. Sajjanhar as well, only Indian athletes seem to be complaining, and only Indian athletes seem to be at the receiving end of this bad refereeing. Athletes of other countries are not complaining. So clearly, there seems to be this impression that because of the overall geopolitical context between India and China from Galwan onwards for the last 3 years, maybe the referees are doing this, not consciously, maybe subconsciously, but they are not, bringing up to the very highest standard, Andrew Liang, the officiating and the refereeing, particularly when it comes to Indian players.
Sorry, are you asking me, sir?
Yes, Andrew KP Liang, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, I think that the the athletes should be congratulated for scoring a double medal and then achieving a historic record of 88.88, which are very, very good numbers because 8 stands for prosperity in Chinese. Don't forget that, as you rightly pointed out, China doesn't need to do this, this kind of trying to do down India, because, as you said, China is right on top of the medals table, 150 more gold medals compared with India. So China, there's no reason at all, to go to do some fishy things in front of the whole world. I think that as far as the perceived irregularities are concerned, well, these are happens most of the time, if not all the time, in international games. And as far as for example, China itself, in the Winter Olympics hosted in Beijing, some of the China athletes were complaining about some sort of irregularities.
So, are you
So I think it
saying
is
that
right for the
Chinese
athletes to
referees and
complain.
Chinese officials are not up to the highest international standards?
Well, I mean, even the referees have high standards, but sometimes some irregularities do happen, as I said, in international games, and it is right for India to complain and also launch perhaps asking for an explanation. But I think that there is no reason for China to stoop down
So,
to this
I
kind
want
of
to ask
action.
Mr. Sajjanhar also this. It's not just the athletes, very senior officials who have been athletes in their own right. Anju Bobby George, who's the vice president of the Athletics Federation, Adil Sumariwala, who's the president of the Athletics Federation. They are saying that something is amiss here. I mean, none of us is jumping to the conclusion that, oh, this is some big grand conspiracy by the Chinese officials. But clearly, officiating is not at the highest international standard. So, something is amiss. And like I said, not just the current players who are at the receiving end, but even officials, former players who are now officials, have also made the same complaint.
No, you're very right, Zaka. The problem is that if it was happening, if it was happening with the other athletes also, I would take it, that the competence of the referees is not up to the mark. They are making mistakes, they are erring, etc. But here it is only, and this is what is important to notice. It's only the Indian athletes who are being singled out like this. That's why I said maybe it has something to do with the sort of mindset as far as the people are concerned. Those who are referees, those who are judges there. And the other point is that in all the cases where we have complained, it has all these decisions have been overturned because
Yeah.
not in the case of Neeraj Chopra, his first throw, which was apparently a very good throw, that was disregarded completely. So he had to sort of come back. And for a person who's competing at the highest level, and for him to sort of be standing on one side, twiddling his thumbs, not knowing what has happened, I think that can be very disconcerting. It's credit to him. On that score, I would definitely agree with Andrew KP Lung that our athletes need to be congratulated that notwithstanding these very tense circumstances and these very hostile sort of atmosphere that is sought to be created, that they have continued to do well. But I think it does.
Andrew Leong, I don't generally like to mix politics and sports, but we have seen in the past, whether it is the USA boycotting an Olympic Games, then followed by the Soviet Union, the then Soviet Union boycotting Olympic Games that were hosted by the United States. We have seen quite a bit of geopolitical overlap or rub-off into the sporting arena. Are we to believe that given the tensions between India and China over the last 3 years, this is perhaps an extension of that?
Well, I don't think so. I think, particularly at a time when the world is torn apart by geopolitical tensions, we need international games like this, either regional games or the global games like the Olympics, so as to highlight the importance of cooperation and competition. And rather than focusing on narrow-mindedness, because there are no doubt a lot of things that divide countries, but there are a lot of other things that bind countries together, and also peoples and civilizations. We need more of that rather than less.
No, these are lofty words, but it doesn't mean much.